What's up, your boy Vaughn? Another reaction. In today's video, we have Why Real Madrid Super Team is Falling by Remar Football. Make sure like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into it. Dang, Vinny, Vinny was getting into it with Xavi Alonso, gang. And niggas talking about some Mbappe out. Mbappe got an ego. Mbappe the dictator. Like, dang. But a World Cup right around the corner, son. If Mbappe dominate the World Cup like how he always do, niggas gonna be right on Mbappe dick to some. He the best player in the world, bro. Nah, Mbappe better than Lamar, bro. Like niggas gonna be right back glazing. Like, yeah, it's just, but it's just egos, bro. Like the Real Madrid is filled with some of the biggest. It got the biggest football players on the planet, most popular. These niggas got 200 million followers on Instagram, 100 million followers on Instagram. Like, these some of the most popular footballers in the world, my nigga. These niggas got egos, bro. Simple.
During a fierce Champions League
Vinny got attitude issues still. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with Vinny. Vinny can't control his emotions. Like,
quarterfinal match at the Allianz Arena. Even though they had lost the first leg to Bayern Munich 2-1, Real Madrid were used to that position. I mean, over the last decade, those were the nights that defined them. Games were structured.
They were scoring on Byron, bro. Like,
broke down. Things were seeming impossible.
That's how if I'm an Arsenal fan, bro, I want Byron to win this game. I'm a PSG fan, though. I want my PSG to win. If PSG, we'd be Byron today, son. But Arsenal, y'all is about to get demolished. We about to do y'all just like how we did Inter Milan last year.
Possible, but they pulled through. And for a few minutes, it looked like another one of those magical nights. A beautiful free kick goal from Arda Güler, Kylian Mbappe scoring and putting them ahead. But just when it looked like they were about to pull it off, Bayern regained control almost immediately. Madrid never established rhythm in possession, never settled defensively, and as the game stretched, the gaps became more and more visible.
Bro, that did, bro.
Eventually, Eduardo Camavinga was sent off, and things looked truly hopeless. Plus, last-minute goals by Luis Diaz and Olise would seal the nail in the coffin. Because by the final whistle, that match was basically a representation of Madrid all season, looking like they were going to come out on top and ultimately fail to do so. Now, it's kind of becoming more and more clear. This isn't just a team that's fallen short in one match. It was a season and, more overall, a squad that is really being exposed. But first we need to address the elephant in the room, the decisions that overall broke the season. Because the turning point for Real Madrid's season didn't happen in Munich, it happened months earlier with the departure of
Ain't Vinny be I love Vinny be frying me like Xabi
Alonso.
I think they fired Xabi Alonso too fast, bro. Like, y'all ain't let this man cook. Like, and he didn't get sacked. He stepped away on by himself. But I don't know, bro. Y'all should have got this nigga to stay. Like, y'all should have fucking negotiated, got the nigga to stay, talked him out of it. Like,
now, a lot of people have varying opinions on this. At the time, the situation might not have been so stable, but it wasn't beyond.
Like, bro, we literally watched what this man did at fucking what the club is, Bayern Leverkusen, right? Like, the man won the fucking Bundesliga with Leverkusen, bro.
Repair either. Real Madrid were still competing across multiple fronts. Sure, their performances fluctuated, and at some points, they did kind of underperform. But they remained within reach domestically and were alive in Europe. More importantly, Xabi Alonso was trying to build something. A tactical structure that, while imperfect, did have some direction. He pushed for things like controlled build-up, clear midfield positioning, and a more structured attacking shape. And of course, to achieve that,
I'm telling you, bro, they got rid of that nigga, bro. Too fast. They should let this man cook.
It have required time, buy-in, and overall support not just from the players, but from the fans and organization. However, as we've gone on through the season, there are now jokes of things like Dictator Mbappe, someone who many people directly correlate with not only the sacking of Xabi Alonso, but overall with the hostile takeover of Real Madrid and deciding how the club should play during matches. Because
that's funny. It's what they were saying. This boy styling. This boy Musilani.
Be real here. The decision to remove Xabi Alonso wasn't the end of a failed project. It was the interruption of something that was just starting to form. Because slowly it's been undeniable. The Real Madrid players have had a really bad attitude problem. Because under Arbeloa, performance levels declined in measurable ways. attacking output dropped.
Like, what do Vinny like? Vinny, what is you mad about? Like, gang, Vinny be frying me. What is you mad about, gang?
Chance creation decreased, and the results became even more erratic. Because the problems that Alonso faced didn't just disappear, I would argue they intensified, and the results in numbers back this up. Because while some people did blame Xabi Alonso, the truth of the matter is it goes well beyond that. Because perhaps the biggest problem with this Real Madrid squad, who many are calling the Galacticos 3.0, is that on paper, Madrid's attack remains one of the most talented in Europe. However, overall, as an actual functioning squad, to put it bluntly, it's just all-star power without control. And at this point, we really shouldn't be all that surprised. With literally every Galacticos era, the main objective was to secure as much star potential and big-name players as possible. Now, of course, this formula does lead to commercial success, but literally, historically, it has never really led to actual trophies. Initially, when Florentino Perez started off the project in itself, with a few big names like Figo and Zidane, they got the job done and actually won a Champions League trophy. But bear in mind, that squad was with an incredibly talented manager in Vicente Del Bosque. Because as Florentino Perez started to focus more on big names and just increasing the commercial success, he actually started to neglect the performances on the pitch. Key midfield pieces like Claude Makelele were removed and never brought back or replaced with an adequate player. A brilliant manager like Vicente Del Bosque was sacked after winning the Champions League and league title. And from that point on, he would only focus more on signing names like Ronaldo, David Beckham, Michael Owen, and many more. And of course, while this team was incredibly iconic, they would fail on the European stage over and over again for nearly a decade. And even with the Galacticos 2.0, they brought in guys like Cristiano Ronaldo, Ricardo Kaká, Benzema, and many more. However,
that ain't work either.
They weren't really all that dominant in Europe. For those first few years, that Jose Mourinho-led Real Madrid squad battled it out with Barcelona and only managed to win a single league title. And it wasn't until Carlo Ancelotti and other pieces were moved around and the squad was more stabilized that they would finally win another Champions League title. However, with this current Real Madrid squad, Mbappe, Vinny Jr., Bellingham, and more, the expectations aren't just effectiveness, it's dominance. But last season and this season did not come close to reflecting those standards. Don't get me wrong, Mbappe has been overall individually brilliant, producing goals not only in Spain but at the European stage and also at an incredibly high volume. I mean, the man has 47 goal contributions in 40 matches. The brilliance is unquestionable. But here's one thing. I don't exactly think Mbappe is all that much of a dictator as social media would like to call him. And listen, I'm not trying to blame Mbappe at all. But often his goals comes from isolation and individual brilliance, not as part of a
like you see how that nigga by himself, like taking one-on-ones, that's when you thrive.
Sustained attacking system. Vinny himself has also had moments of brilliance, but he's also missed key chances in decisive games, and his role in the club, especially with Mbappe being that dominant, has undoubtedly changed. Jude Bellingham, although coming off of an injury, for most of the last 2 seasons his role has fluctuated a lot. And that is also again due to Real Madrid not having a clear attacking structure, because the issue was never talent, it's about cohesion. The front line doesn't exactly operate as a unit, and movements aren't all.
These some crazy ass goals, bro. Like these niggas, Vinny and Mbappe, bro. If they get this shit together, bro, they gonna be dangerous, bro. Like
that well synchronized.
Bro, just look at these goals, bro, and these strikes, bro. Look.
At their best, Real Madrid's.
Oh my gosh, bro, you scored that from that angle. Like what the fuck?
Attack overwhelms opponents through collective movement and timing. When Modric and Toni Kroos was there, it didn't really matter who you had up top, and the way that they managed the game allowed the attackers to thrive. These past 2 seasons, with that being gone, largely Real Madrid has to depend on individual moments that can't really consistently carry the team. And that's what Real Madrid is really missing. Because as strong as their attack is, and even if they aren't that well synchronized, Real Madrid's midfield is just not built with the adequate personnel to distribute and control the pace. And well, part of that is because Xabi Alonso didn't get the midfielders he initially wanted. Because guys like Bellingham and Arda are talented, don't get me wrong, but they are a
that boy ass probably one that works and fucking I don't know.
far cry from not only the way that Toni Kroos plays, but from the way that he controlled the pace of the game and he orchestrated their attack. And a player who could have potentially added a little bit of that structure was Zubamendi. However, when Xabi Alonso wanted him, Real Madrid eventually decided not to.
That nigga Zubamendi ass. Zubamendi. That boy Lee Gunner be saying, send Zubamendi Back to Sociedad, mate.
grab him. And as we know, he now plays for Arsenal. So with that, Real Madrid really has to rely on their overall structure and coaching. But as we've seen through the season, a lot of players were reluctant. Most notably, guys like Vinny Jr., probably the most reluctant of any player in Real Madrid to adapt Xabi Alonso's system. And Real Madrid's loss to Bayern Munich, like I said earlier in the video, truly sums up their entire season. Bayern approached the match with a clear plan. In possession, they maintained width while controlling the center areas through midfield rotations. They moved the ball with purpose.
Mbappe, these niggas don't press. Niggas just standing around. What the fuck is y'all doing?
Drawing Real Madrid constantly out of shape, causing their dominant attack to be even more messy than it already was. Because without a compact midfield structure, Madrid failed to respond.
Yeah, this bad, bro. It just looked like niggas just standing around on the field. Like niggas just trying to get cardio in. Like, what the
couldn't consistently disrupt Bayern's build-up, their pressing was sloppy, and Madrid's spacing became a recurring issue. Real Madrid's backline is often left exposed due to midfield players failing to recover position quickly enough, or just not overall being great decision-makers and ball handlers when the pace is slow. This creates situations where teams like Bayern could isolate defenders in wide areas, attack the space in between lines, and dominate possession. And I'm not saying that Real Madrid played badly during that Bayern matchup. That match was overall incredible, but also it was a perfect example where difference in management becomes clear. In high-level games or in matches where adjustments are decisive, that's when managerial structure matters most. That's where players have to come together, move as a unit, and follow a system if they're playing at their best but still are coming up short, because they were scoring goals. But on the drawing boards and on the pitch, they were simply outclassed, because the result wasn't just a loss, it was an overall disappointing season. A clear demonstration of how a well-structured team can consistently beat one that performs on individual effort alone. Not only is this Real Madrid squad for the most part filled with young talent, they lack that veteran mentality and leadership from their manager. Because honestly, overall, the whole squad, especially their midfield and attacking players, for lack of a better term, act like spoiled brats. I'm a true believer that Xabi Alonso should have never been sacked in the first place. But it's also a colossal failure from the management. From the very beginning of the season, we've heard complaints from Xabi Alonso of how he wanted to sign certain players but didn't get support from management, or how he wanted to force his players to play a certain way or do extra training and video sessions, but when his players were reluctant to do so, he also did not get support from management. And while some were saying they were glad Xabi Alonso was out, from what
Xavi gang, you gotta scream at them niggas like how Luis Enrique did to Mbappe. You need to press. What that nigga said? If Michael Jordan would have grabbed him, that nigga said something about some Michael Jordan grabbing balls or something to Mbappe, yelling at that nigga. Gang, you gotta yell at that nigga fire. Like you gotta yell at these niggas.
I'm seeing online, many of them are starting to regret that take, because that crushing Champions League exit isn't the only bad part of the season. Domestically, Madrid are also no longer setting the pace. Barcelona only continues to move higher and higher on the table, setting a stronger position in La Liga and looking more and more like they're about to secure the title. Lack of structure, inconsistent performances, and an over-reliance on individual brilliance. And this pattern across all competitions points to a systematic problem in the squad, not just an isolated moment of falling short in the Champions League. Because if Real Madrid really wants to make this Galacticos 3.0 work, they're going to have to bring in a manager that can not only handle all these egos, but one who will get the support of management.
Jose Mourinho. I just seen he's gonna be the manager. Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho not gonna play that shit. Jose Mourinho gonna get on the ass. That's good choice.
To set things down, to lay down rules and foundations that the players have to follow. Because if not, well, sure, they'll sell jerseys, they'll get a lot of views on TV, but I don't think they'll be lifting many trophies. Because I'm not trying to say anything bad about Alvaro Arbeloa, but what Real Madrid really needs is a man manager who can take all those egos and make them work for the same purpose. Whether that be Jose Mourinho, who has allegedly offered his services to Real Madrid, or even Zinedine Zidane, who without a doubt demands respect from any player. Some changes are going to have to be made. So as we're moving towards the end of the season and it's starting to look like Real Madrid definitely won't win the league title, they really need to start focusing on next season. Because hey, that first season with Mbappe, some could write that off as just growing pains. The second season is a lot harder to ignore. But if this happens again in the third season with underperformance and no big trophies won, this is going to look really bad for Real Madrid as an organization and all the current players they have now. So this leaves us with the question, what should Real Madrid really do? Salvage some of their players and rebuild their midfield and attack to be more cohesive, or simply stick through with what they already have, but bring in a manager who can really get things connected and going? I'd like to see what you guys think, because this might very well be the start of Real Madrid's collapse.
Yeah. Jose Mourinho gonna get on their ass. Like I seen clips of Jose Mourinho in the locker room. Like Jose Mourinho gonna get on their ass. But Michel Concentrate and I'm out. Deuces.